bet you ain't never. I bet you ain't never heard of a Katzenjammer.
I have. Matter of
Use
fact,
it in a
2
sentence.
days ago. Damien be on that bullshit while he wearing that Katzenjammer.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, tell us what it is.
Capel's bullshit has me in a bit of a Katzenjammer.
I still.
And when you say it, yeah, exactly.
The context clues aren't helping me figure out what it means.
Yeah, probably not.
I was about to say that same thing. I can't use my context clues to figure that one out.
Probably, yeah, you probably can't.
Well, spell it.
Y'all gonna tell us what it means, or just
not us? I don't know what it means.
Exactly.
Damien, go ahead. What it means. But you said it's a word, so go ahead.
No, you look it up. That ain't how it work. Remember? That ain't how research. That ain't how research works. No,
is it
Katzen?
Like cotton, or like is it starts with a K, or like it's cotton?
It starts with a K.
Hey Siri,
I think it's like a.
I think
it's like a German, maybe German or something like that.
Katzenjammer was an English language Norwegian band from Oslo, formed in 2005.
That ain't what you talking about.
We talking about English words though now.
It's an English word. That ain't right,
gonna
Siri.
give a German word and then ask me if I know it.
How you know? Every word in our diction comes from
we understand. So it comes from it's derived from.
I'm talking about an English word that's in our dictionary.
We're not talking about.
Oh, okay. So it was derived from somewhere else, but it's an English word.
It isn't all words except for bling bling.
Yeah, but there are some words that are not in the English dictionary that are other words. That's what we're asking.
But Damon, your definition said something about
my definition.
You ain't gave us a definition yet.
Welcome to another episode of Acoustic Chef. This is D. Will.
This is Cox and Drama.
Wait a minute. This is Regina.
And this is Ebony.
I'm not giving you a definition. You look it up yourself. You
I don't want to know what it is.
Because we're never going to use that
word. Okay. It means hangover, a severe headache resulting from a hangover.
Well, that's not how it was used in a sentence.
It's not, because he don't know what it means. He probably heard the word before.
Put money on it.
It don't matter now. Regina just told us. We all know it.
And the way you used it in the sentence wasn't a hangover.
Sure was it.
Put money on it.
How we gonna put money on something that you got ample opportunity to research before I
don't have to put. I've already researched. I don't put money on something unless I'm 100% right.
You're 100% right.
I know what I'm talking about.
Nah, what it tells us.
I use it correctly in the sentence.
You're trying to prove the point, though. I'm not trying to prove a point. You
put money on it and I prove it. I'm not going through all this for nothing.
Well, then we can move on, because I don't care what a Coxie drama is.
You ain't even saying it right.
You're right, because I don't know what the damn word is. Only Damien knows.
No, not only me and Webster. Webster know as well.
It's a severe headache resulting from a hangover. If you want to go a little bit further, it is often used as a term for a hangover, with the sufferer's groans of discomfort being likened to a wailing cat.
Regina, it clearly has to have another definition, because Damien just said put money on it.
And I'm still saying it.
So if he gives us that definition, then the bet can't happen. Because
that doesn't make sense. You couldn't grab that from the context. You wouldn't grab it anyway, because that doesn't make sense. So it must be another definition.
I'm looking at Merriam-Webster, and hangover, distress, discordant, clamor.
Well, this is what I do know. You don't know how to use it in a sentence. Because you did not use it correctly in a sentence, if that's what that word means.
Who didn't?
You didn't.
If that's the only definition, you're absolutely right. I just said that.
Okay, then let's move on.
Wow.
What's up, listeners?
Yeah. And I think this all started because Capel trying to make me look like a fool.
I don't think Capel made anything. I think you did that on your own.
Now who look like a fool?
Congratulations. Listen, let's move on. This is a great show we got today. Let's get it popping.
Yeah, what's up, man? What's up, y'all? How y'all doing?
Good. How are you?
Great.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
What we got on tap for today? What we got on tap for today? We got some, I don't know. I'm not feeling too great. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
Before we get started or whatever, with the banter and platitudes and all of that type of stuff, to my traders out there, and Ebony, I know you be trading and stuff like that too. Man, keep y'all eyes on what's going on with America trying to put like a ban. Well, I ain't gonna say a ban, but put more regulations on China or whatnot. Yeah. So if they end up putting these regulations on them to the point to where they can't operate on in United States and United States markets and stuff like that. Some of y'all who got these stocks out here, and I know like Neo, and I'm invested in like XPEV. These are some hot stocks that China has. Also like Alibaba and stocks like that or whatever. They may end up, going overseas, taking their businesses overseas and stuff like that. And Americans may not be able to invest in those stocks. And if you already invested, that may mean that you might end up losing some money. So keep your eyes on that, and make sure you do your research.
Actually, that was a part of my own conspiracy theory when the COVID started. Timing was crazy for me, like around November, December, when there was Chinese New Year of last year.
Yeah.
The government put in some sanctions and started talking about regulations on China. So if you actually do business in China, I mean, with China companies, like we have a clothing line, and we most of our things come from there. And so it has put a halt and a lot of long lead times on everything. So it has really changed everything for a lot of business owners, especially small business owners. So that's in the beginning, I thought that was why COVID happened, because I was thinking, okay, now we have sanctions and regulations put on China business. And all of a sudden during Chinese New Year, when there's a ridiculous amount of people on top of the ridiculous amount of people that already live there, COVID breaks out. So I could have been wrong, but I just thought the timing was interesting. And I just like, well, and then now I just felt like it spread more than they expected it to spread. I don't think it was a bat eaten at the market. I just believe that if you trace back when they first said it broke, just look at what was happening in China.
I think you're hitting on something, because coincidences of this magnitude are not usually like just a coincidence. It's normally seeds that have been planted and stuff like that or whatever. It's too much of a coincidence for him, Trump, to have been going all the way in on China, creating these, regulatory statutes and all of that type of stuff. And then for that to happen, and then for the blame to, like, how do you, if we got sick right here in this house or whatever, how do you say, oh, it came from D. Will and them or whatever? You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. How do you say it's because he ate a bat? I'm pretty sure if somebody eats raw bats at the wet market, that's not their first time.
They've been doing exactly.
So,
and then the videos of people eating that they had of eating bats were not even people from Wuhan. They weren't even in Wuhan. Those people were from like the Philippines or something. Like they were like some YouTubers from the Philippines or whatever. So it's just a bunch of BS.
Yeah. So, and then of course, then you had the conspiracy that I think some people from China said it was the U.S. military that brought it over there. But I heard that quite a bit at first, but now that kind of died down.
Of course it did.
So.
Anyway,
yeah, get your stock together and get your businesses together, because it is hurting more. It's not just the lockdown that's hurting businesses. It's the way that a lot of people have been doing businesses. It has changed.
Straight up, that's what it is. So anyway, did y'all get a chance to look at the Tyson fight? Did you watch it, Capel?
Nah, man. I really didn't have a whole lot of interest in watching the Tyson Roy Jones Jr. fight. I saw clips of it, but I'm not a boxing fan, so I wasn't even excited about the fight. I planned on like going back and maybe checking out if I had time, but the only thing that was interesting is what happened before that fight. But the actual fight of Tyson Roy Jones Jr. I wasn't that interested in.
Oh, what happened before the fight?
Yeah.
Well, it was a fight before that fight.
Oh, Nate Robinson.
Yeah, that was pretty
Nate
interesting.
Robinson, yeah.
I made sure I went and checked that out. But the Tyson Roy Jones Jr. fight, I commend them, for getting in the ring at that age and going at it. Mike Tyson's still a beast, but clearly he wouldn't be able to make it in a fight.
Would you fight him?
No, I wouldn't.
For no amount of money?
Nope.
I
Are you
would, but I would
serious?
lay down before he even hit
Nah.
me.
Nah, I'm serious. Listen,
Good. I
No,
people.
for no amount of money?
I've seen that question posed before, like a meme. Like, would you fight Mike Tyson for like, would you like go in the ring for Mike Tyson for 1 minute for $1 million? And like, I would not. Okay,
Hey, bro.
listen. Trained boxers also are trained to take punches, and they know how to get hit. I am not that. All it takes is one real punch from Mike Tyson. That
And
boy's
you
super
dead.
quick, dude. That dude is super quick. He got some of
He's
the
not
quickest
gonna have to
hands
hit me.
ever. All it takes is one time for you to get hit, and you a vegetable.
So
I
would you?
mean, I'm
So
not a
would you?
trained fighter, dude.
So bro? You would train. You're not just gonna fight him. You gonna train.
This boy act like you can train yourself in a couple of weeks or whatever in a month
Hey,
to
bro.
get in the ring with a
I'm not
Mike
acting
Tyson.
like, bro.
Like,
Okay, so Fat Joe. It was proposed to Fat Joe and 50 Cent to fight. Fat Joe turned for 10 million. Fat Joe turned it down. If I'm Fat Joe, I'm turning it down too because I don't think Fat Joe can can stand with 50. But
I would
because 50
fight one of
actually
them for
trained
10 million. I would fight one of
50,
them.
Yeah.
50
But they
does
can turn it
boxer
down. They
training.
don't need 10 million. If they somebody offer me 10 million to get in the ring with anybody, they're not gonna have to hit me. I'm gonna train
Yeah.
and then I'm gonna, box and weave and then
Bob
I'm
and
laying
weave.
down. I mean, I'm sorry, everybody's gonna be mad at me.
too.
They wasted their time pay-per-view, but I'm laying right down.
Did y'all
I'm
see
It's
the
a
doing all
fight?
the
knockout.
antics. I'll get in the ring and do all the
Yeah,
antics.
I saw it. Also, did anybody catch the Errol Spence?
Oh, that was his weekend, huh?
Yeah,
Errol
yeah,
Spence
yeah.
Jr.
That
Yeah, I forgot
yeah,
about that one. I heard about it. I knew he was fighting, but I didn't catch it.
yeah. We
I
watched it.
did. I
A
saw
good
the
fight.
Mike Tyson fight though.
Oh, you did?
It was interesting. It was really funny to me. When I heard they
Yeah.
were fighting, I was like, this has got to be a joke. I kept seeing
Yeah.
people post about it, and I was like, they're so old. Why are they fighting? What is the point? And then they had Snoop Dogg commentating.
Oh, now
Man,
that.
I heard that
that
was gold.
he was like, oh, they look like two uncles at a barbecue fighting. And I was like, oh my God. Everything he said was funny.
Oh,
It
they
was
gave
like a concert and comedy show because
yeah.
it was definitely not your typical fight.
It
That's
was
what's
I was
up.
like, I don't know, is this the new wave?
they kept
Hey, that
hugging
may
each
be.
other, and I mean there's lots of hugging and lots of breathing hard and looking tired and
Probably not
um,
looking tired.
oh,
They
they
were
were
tired as
tired.
hell.
Roy
Yeah.
was exhausted after that second round. He put his head down like, damn, why? What did I agree to do?
How many rounds they do?
They did all of the. Is it eight
Because
rounds?
they call it a draw, right?
They did
Yeah.
call it a draw. They did all of the rounds, and nobody got knocked out. It did. They were hugged so much. I was like, did they miss? Why they keep hugging? I don't.
That's
like
what
to
I'm
hug.
gonna do if I'm in the ring. We
They
gonna
just
hug or
hug.
I'm
They
out.
kept getting the
Yeah, this was
passion,
this was a
hugging, and
real
I'm like, why are they doing this? What is the
yeah,
hugging
this was
about?
a real fight. Like a lot of people think it was celebrity stunt. Nah, this wasn't like a 3 round. Hey, we just gonna give y'all something to watch. No, this was a real fight for them.
I
Like,
still think it was a celebrity stunt. I mean, they did it for the
Kind of.
celebrity, or they got paid what they got paid, definitely because of their celebrity.
well, I mean that's how all boxers they get
But
paid.
that's all of them. Yeah.
Paid. But I mean, what I mean is this wasn't like an exhibition. This wasn't like a 3 round fight. We just gonna give y'all a little
Yeah.
taste just for fun. No,
With
this
no
was a real,
scrimmage.
exactly. This was like a real setup fight. They did the weigh in and all that. Like they did everything that you normally do for a boxing match. It was a real boxing match.
Yeah, and when what's the name knocked out Melly? I think all celebrity boxing matches are real. You know what I'm saying? But was it?
If me and you got into a boxing match, we wouldn't have a actual like record that mattered. Like they like this goes on to their actual career record. Like
Yeah, okay, I feel you. I
whatever
feel
Mike
you.
Tyson was, he got
Yeah.
that draw added to it. Same thing with Roy Jones
Yeah.
Jr.
Yeah.
It was like an actual. It was real. That's what I mean.
Bro,
Yeah.
you telling me for 10 million you wouldn't get in the ring with Tyson?
Hey, bruh, I value my life, dude.
I'm not.
I
I ain't talking about
understand.
today. I'm talking about you get to train for 6 months, like a
I
real
get in the ring
boxer.
today.
Me
Hey,
too.
so let me
Okay.
ask. So check this out, right? Check this out, right? I was laughing about the fight that happened before that. Nate Robinson. Nate Robinson trained and he fought somebody that ain't even on the level of Mike Tyson now. Somebody that
Yeah.
probably would never be as good as Mike Tyson, never hit as hard. And look what happened. This is a trained athlete. Nate Robinson played NBA basketball. His stamina,
that's
his stamina is his stamina probably would be better than mine if I trade for 6 months and he sat down for 6 months. And he got put to sleep.
You know why?
It ain't about why. It's
It
about
is about-
me.
yes,
It's
it is
about,
about
no, it's,
why.
I'm talking about it's about me and the 10 million. I'm using that as an example for somebody who went and
And
trained.
yes,
Like bobbing and weaving like he should have been.
exactly. Nate Robinson was overzealous. Nate Robinson wanted to knock that dude out or whatever. Nate Robinson was fighting like for real. Like he really thought he was a fighter. I'm not going in there thinking I'm a fighter. I'm going in there
running.
knowing, yeah, exactly.
I'm running. I'm
You're
in
not
the,
gonna run from
I'm
Mike.
gonna
Mike
hug
is not
like they
Floyd
did.
Mayweather.
I'm staying
Mike is-
out of the corner. And then when he gets me, we
Listen.
hugging, but I'm getting straight to the ground and laying out.
When y'all in the ring with Mike Tyson, you have no choice but to fight.
Oh no.
He's not Floyd Mayweather. Floyd will sit back and let you. He'll try to pick you apart. Mike is going at you. He's an animal. He is fighting. You can't run. You can't run around the ring for a whole match and think you're gonna outlast Mike Tyson.
No, just one round.
Yeah,
I can run for a round.
Mike,
You can't run for a
isn't he
round.
Like 54.
I can run and I can lay down. Then I can lay down once I say, "Oh, I can run."
Did y'all
Now, I
see
may
the
not
training
be
videos?
run and punch, but I can run.
See, y'all are taking the footage y'all saw of Mike Tyson, Roy Jones Jr. and said, "Oh yeah, I could probably be in there for a round." You not Roy Jones Jr. Listen, did you see them videos with him punching them punching bags at the age he is now? Did you see the raw power that he actually has? Now imagine
But
somebody
he's not
being
going
in
to
the
punch
ring.
me.
Oh yes,
My legs are going to be quick. I'm just going to
Listen,
train my legs. I'm going to
he's
be
going-
running.
Move. Get out the way.
I'm
Move.
telling you, you're not going. You have to learn how to take a hit. You have to. That's the other part of boxing that you talking about learning in 6 months, anticipating what somebody gonna hit, where the hits are coming from. Like all that stuff comes with training and practice, sparring.
And
It's not
Vaseline.
gonna happen.
Put a whole
I'm
bunch of
telling you, it's not gonna happen in
like
6
layers.
months,
Boy,
bro.
you crazy. Give me that 10 million.
Cocoa
I'm
butter,
gonna get that.
elderberry, everything. I'm taking everything before the fight.
Nah, Damien,
And
we
I'm
gonna
running.
give Sean and Deuce and Didi and Sky that 10 million. You ain't getting it. You know why?
That's what. Well, that's what we're doing it for our families. We,
Doing it for the kid.
Bro, Tyson hadn't killed nobody, man. Cut it out, bro.
well, he took
be
some years
biting
off. I mean, no,
Again,
He
we
be
talking about
biting
he
people.
fighting with trained fighters. We talking about he fighting with trained fighters.
And I'm gonna train for 6 months, and I'm gonna be able to take a punch and get knocked out.
Maybe
It's like
you would, bro.
like the other half of his opponents, and then I'm gonna get that 10 million.
Hey, you know, everything takes sacrifice. I mean, I'm not saying you shouldn't do
Okay,
it.
what about Mayweather? Would you get in the ring with Mayweather for 10 million?
Yep.
That's what's up. Well, at least you'll get in there with somebody. You just scared of Tyson.
I ain't scared of Tyson.
know
I
he-
fight
he
Tyson
wired-
to
he
take
wired
my
different.
life. If we was around the street and Mike Tyson was doing something that required me to retaliate, I'm picking up everything in the area, try to take that
I'm
boy
still
out.
running.
Yeah, I don't know. Tyson in the street might be even worse, man. You see in the boxing ring, he'll bite
Yeah,
your
ain't
ear
no
off.
rules.
So ain't no telling what he'll do when it ain't no rules. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I'm running. Unless it's
not.
my kids. Unless he got my kids, I'm running.
I mean, you got to make a
He's
business
been in
decision.
the hot box for a while and he's chill.
Yeah, he's a
I'ma talk
therapist
to
now.
him. Yeah, I'll be like, Tyson, why you gotta do that, bruh? Just listen, let's talk about it, man.
What about the whole Nate Robinson ordeal?
I
I
mean,
mean, he got hit in that area that knocked him out. He was asleep for a while till
I think
after.
they
break.
say he was snoring. They say he was like he was like for real sleep. Like because they
Hey,
say that
man.
happens in boxing. No, they say that happens in boxing sometimes. They say it's not a term. They don't say put to sleep for like, you know, like just to be funny. That it actually
Right.
happens at times where somebody is knocked out cold and they actually go to sleep. Like they are knocked out. They snoring. It's like, you know, you need to go put him in the bed.
Yeah, I know. They say that boy got a new line of pillows coming out. Confidence.
I wonder if that's why parents was trying to whoop on us because they thought they didn't know how to do it. They was trying.
Hey.
My mom used to always like, "I'm gonna put you to sleep."
I used
Now
to
I
take
cried
a nap.
myself to sleep.
Yeah. You take a good ass nap after you get a good ass whooping. Those are the best
Yeah.
naps in the world.
Nate Robinson, I commend that boy for getting in there. That shit was just funny to me.
Why did he want to fight anyway?
I honestly don't know. I didn't do any research behind why he was doing that. I mean, the
I
dude he
saw they was
fought.
talking trash to each other.
Maybe that's what it was. I have no idea how that all came about. But I don't. I think from what I heard, Nate Robinson is taking it in pretty good. He engaging with the fans and stuff like that. He taking it like a champ. Like it's what it is.
Hey,
Which I
bro.
Yeah.
think that's good. I
So
think that's good that he ain't like just running and hiding and not talking. I mean,
Bruh,
hey, own that
it
right.
was
shit.
a
So
sport.
Nate,
Oh, go ahead.
well, he announced before the fight that he wanted to show that he's a world class athlete. He played college football. He played in the NBA for 11 years. So he was just excited for this new venture of sports, of boxing. So that is his reasoning.
I
He just
I
wanted to do something different.
Right.
I don't like. Oh, go ahead, Gina.
I mean, he's not the first athlete to want to do something different. Athletes have
Yeah.
ventured into other sports, so
Yep.
why not? He got his ass knocked out. I bet he won't do that again, but
He probably would. I'll be
maybe
honest with you.
you
I
think
believe he
so?
would. Yeah.
Why wouldn't he say, okay, that didn't work out. Let me go back to football, or let me try something else. Why
He might
boxing?
not, he might be embarrassed. Well, I don't know if he was embarrassed, but the
I don't think
point
he's
is he
embarrassed.
may not remember, like how Errol Spence, when he fought, he doesn't even remember. And I don't know if you know the history, but he was in a very bad car accident where
Yeah.
he shouldn't have walked away. He doesn't even remember the car accident. He doesn't remember being in hospital. So Nate might not even remember the feeling of being knocked out, besides everybody making the Nate Robinson challenge. So he may not, it's almost like childbirth, not knowing that it hurts, but not really
Man,
remembering. So
I think
speaking of
honestly,
I
childbirth,
can
I
see
just
the
look at this dude.
videos.
I just look
yeah.
at this dude and I think that he is one of those people that like just an overachiever. I mean, there's a reason why I think he fought. The reason I think he fought is, I mean, this dude like my height. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he done made it to the NBA. He was a world class athlete playing college football and basketball. I mean, he's
the
you
boy that
talk about
won the slam dunk
slam
contest
dunk contest. He didn't like
twice.
really beat the odds, and I feel like him boxing was another challenge for him to show people that I can beat the odds in this too. So I feel like he probably will go and do it again, not because of. And you're right, Ebony. Those things may happen where he just got put to sleep and was like, "What happened? Oh, I want to try boxing." They're like, "You already tried that." He don't even remember. but it's also could be that he wants to get better and he goes back and he works at it and he get back in the ring with somebody. I can see that happening too.
What Jake Paul is he's a YouTuber, but he's also a trained boxer. I think
Yeah,
that may be a possible reason why he chose him. Like, man, come on, bro, this dude ain't really
yeah.
boxing. He's not really, you know what I'm saying. But the dude really is a trained boxer or whatnot. I don't know if he has a record, has had any real matches or anything like that. But I mean, he's been training for a long time, so I mean, experience matters. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? But I think I don't like the post effects of people making memes and making fun because boxing is a sporting event. You know what I'm saying? It's not like
Right.
they had a street fight. You know what I'm saying? It ain't like Nate Robinson is a a buster that deserves that type of because he hadn't done anything to anybody or whatever. So I mean, that was a sporting exhibition or whatever. So
I agree.
I
just
agree,
like
but it's the nature of the game. If Tyson would have been knocked out, I mean, they would have it regardless of his record and everything he's done, media is ruthless and they have no
this
Chill.
this not the
They
media.
love
so
chilling.
This
It
is not
was
the
social
media.
only
media is
yeah,
media. It's
Yes,
Oh,
people.
internet
I
It's
feel you.
heavy.
I
us. It's
feel you.
social media. That is
yeah.
media. That's the new media. It's not the news.
Yeah.
People look for truth from Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. Then they say the news is fake news. So I
Yeah.
mean, it is what it
Yeah.
is. I agree with you. It takes the respect from the game, but I mean those that know it's mainly kids, and then we laugh here and there, but we know it still took a lot to get in that
It
that
it,
ring.
it, it honestly, I'm probably about to go deeper than what we need to in this, and y'all might not agree, but I also think it's because of who he was and how we do in our community. Because they got boxers that they get knocked out all the time. That don't. This is because he was Nate Robinson, and if Nate Robinson would have did what the white dude did to him, if Nate Robinson would have knocked that white guy out, wouldn't have been no memes. Because nobody really know that cat. Not
Hey,
like that.
bro.
But then
Before you
it, but
finish,
it
I
was
didn't know his brother's an actual boxer or
Jake
whatnot.
Robinson.
No, the
Who
dude
is
Jake
he?
Paul.
Jake Paul.
Jay. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, I mean, I didn't know that
Logan.
either. But you know, we was talking about last week. We was talking about a couple episodes ago. We was talking about Megan Thee Stallion and how she was put out on these memes and stuff, and how they don't do that with white women and blah blah blah. And I feel like this is another situation like that. Like this
Who's
wouldn't have
protecting
happened
black men?
just because of Nate Robinson was who he is. Like he's
Right.
famous and he's a black man. If he was a
Right.
famous white man, it would
They
have been
wouldn't
like,
have never
oh,
did this.
they would like, oh,
Yeah, and
that
and
was
that's
commendable for
facts.
him to get
Ain't
in.
nobody protecting black men.
Yeah. So now you understand what we're always talking about. We agree.
But I mean, I
Nah, go
believe
ahead,
that's why
bro.
the memes and stuff like because of who he was. He was a famous, he was a well-known athlete, and he's a highly respected athlete. He's a black man, and bam, something happened that people thought was funny. Let's make memes about it. Let's make fun of it. I mean,
Yeah.
that
Do
kind of
y'all?
stuff really only happens to us.
I
Yeah, and
think
it's
the
it's
white boy would
cultural.
have. I think the white boy would have gotten made fun of as well. We make
Not
fun of
A
like
little
anybody.
bit.
We don't care who it is. We'll make fun of anybody.
it's
We
not that we
will. I
wouldn't
don't think it would have been a whole challenge. Like if you
exactly.
Nah,
Yeah,
it
hashtag,
wouldn't have
that's
it's
been
what
a
I'm
a
talking
challenge.
challenge.
about.
Man,
That's
Mhm.
what
can
I'm
I?
talking
But
about.
but that's what we do culturally. Like someone said, well, if it was a street fight, no. Remember in school when people were fighting, you got your ass whooped. It didn't matter if you whooped everybody ass before. We only going to talk about that one. When we talk about your mama, we going, oh, your mama came up here with the house shoes on. We going, it don't matter if she looked good every time she came up here. That's just the culture. That's what we do. Social media has magnified it.
So are we not more interesting than pretty much most other people? You know what I mean? If you had to put us on a scale, I'd say we're more interesting. We're more talented. We're more. We're stronger. We're faster. You know what I'm saying?
Creative, more
We're
Color.
more. Yeah,
creative
Yeah,
exactly.
as
We're more
well.
creative.
intuitive. We're more creative. So
Absolutely.
what? Why would we make fun of Bill Gates? He already just. I mean, I could make fun of a thousand
Because we're
things,
too
but he
busy
just looked
making
like a nerd.
conspiracies about Bill Gates.
I mean, I
We
But
make
we
what
fun
the?
of him all the time. Why the hell does he still wear his hair with those bangs?
I mean,
What
why he
man
look
his
like
age?
a turtle out of his shell? But I'm
Right.
saying, like,
Why does he look like that?
what I'm saying, he's not he Bill Gates or whatever. He's not out there on the scene like every day doing stuff or whatever. You know what I'm saying? For us to make, I mean, he's not
Hey,
interesting.
bruh, he's not interested. You're right. But I
and they
mean,
don't care,
think
honestly.
about somebody like Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan has not played basketball for years, and in his Hall of Fame speech, he showed one moment of vulnerability, and it became a meme for ages, even to this day. That was
Yep.
like that was something that was supposed to be sincere, and we took that and we was like,
Hmm.
oh man, did you see that boy crying? And now this is a meme for all disappointment, all fails. They put his face on football fields. I done seen his face on Kevin Durant head because of how nappy it is. His face is on everything.
So
And I
speak,
mean, that's
He embraced it though.
he
He
stays
laughed at
out
it.
Michael Jordan stays out the spotlight. He was a beast on the court, but after that, this man is a businessman. You can liken him to Bill Gates in the fact that he stays away from everything and just does business. But yet, we found one thing, and we took that and it blew up.
It was
It's
crazy.
culture. It's definitely a cultural thing.
Culture.
but
It is
just
a
like
culture.
with the whole, okay, like it was questioned, why is Gail King? And I was one of the people questioning her. Why is Gail King interviewing R. Kelly? And why is Oprah interviewing, these guys who were supposedly molested by Mike and stuff? Why they not interviewing Harvey Weinstein and people like that, Epstein and all these other folks? And I think part of the reason is because nobody even knew who I mean, the people in the industry knew who Harvey Weinstein was. I used to see the
Right.
W logo and stuff on his movies, but I didn't know who the hell Harvey Weinstein was. But
Mm.
I've been knowing who R. Kelly was since I was, like 12, 13 years old or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I mean,
So
that holds weight. That Matt, you're right. I mean, he's more interesting of a figure. We want to hear what them answers are to those questions. And with Harvey
Right.
Weinstein, this is like a perverted old white man. We don't care about him. We just want him to suffer.
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
And you also have to understand that when people interview people, the person that's being interviewed has to accept the interview. You can say, why don't people do this? But you also don't know if Harvey said,
That's true.
I don't want to get, but we're quick to say, Oprah, why are you doing this to the black community? Even though she's done such great for the black community, or Gail,
I ain't never
So
got a car.
I get it, huh?
No, I said I ain't
What you
never
say?
got a car. Oprah ain't give me no car.
Oh,
But
she
she
don't need to
does
get.
things for the Black community. She has a whole school in Africa
In
for
Africa.
young ladies who
What about in
don't.
Chicago?
She does stuff
She's
for
done. She's done so much here. It's
she's
ridiculous. So
put Black men through school here too. She
Yeah.
paid for like,
I'm still paying my
oh,
loans.
do
I'm
your
just saying.
man, do
yeah,
some research.
Now I'm just
yeah.
playing.
So I'm
You
not.
ain't destroying
So
the Black man. The Black man does that to himself. R. Kelly did that shit to himself, and he had plenty of warnings and plenty of opportunities to quit what he was doing and go straight and fly right or whatever. He
So
deserves whatever the hell happens to him. And that
R.
whole
Kelly
interview
didn't.
with
Yeah,
Gail,
he didn't have to
baby,
accept it.
yeah,
I don't. The reason I don't. The whole Gail thing though. I don't understand why she worked with Charlie Rose, which was which he was charged with sexual harassment and all of that type of stuff too. Why?
Can I say this? I have some pictures and I have some people or teammates or whatever that are now I found out they've raped people, they've killed people. You could bring up somebody I took a picture with and like, and this dude actually I just saw a couple weeks ago, he got shot in the face, but he's still alive. But he's supposedly killed people before. So if I ever got famous, I could imagine people would say, look who she hangs with, you know? So I'm friends with a lot of people that I don't really know, that I only know what they present to me. I'm on a podcast with some people that y'all, I think y'all solid. Y'all don't know what I do when we turn this camera off.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I totally get it. I know people that women have said this person did something. I'm like, that's not to him. He wouldn't do it. You know, you have to be careful with that saying, well, why were you friends with this person? Or why was this person over your finances?
Not from
work
that
with.
perspective. I understand what you're saying. She was just working. They were just working together. Like they was just on a show together. She doesn't know R. Kelly. You know what I'm saying? So why would she push for an interview with him and not push for one with Charlie Rose, who was just fired from being?
Do you think she pushed for the interview? Because and I know this is a small scale thing, but my daughter has a talk show. She has and I know it's not on the same scale as that, but she works with an agency. She's just the host. She has no creative control. She can put her input here and there, but for the ratings, which they're very minimal because nobody knows about it, they bring the guests. And she's just supposed to make sure that her line of questioning matches whatever. You're the host, you can be replaced. Right. So I think you have to be careful about, even when it's called the Gayle King Show or whoever's show, be careful with automatically assuming that someone pushed for this interview. Some people do their job as journalists.
I understand that. I don't know. I couldn't do certain things or whatever because of the way that they're presented. Like I haven't seen her do an interview with anybody except for these hot button topics that are kind of slanted. Do you watch
it? But you haven't seen it. What's been highlighted is the ones where our culture we're upset with, right? So yeah, there's some questionable comments, especially when Kobe passed. I can give you that, but she does interviews every day, and people say, "Well, I haven't seen her do this." You're not trying. Ain't nobody checking for the Gayle King Show or whatever it's called.
I rock with Gayle King. So that's how I noticed she worked with Charlie Rose or whatever, because I used to watch their morning show or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I kind of agree with you, Damien. I feel like Ebony, you're right. I do understand what you're saying, but when you are somebody of Gayle King status, I feel like if you want to do that, you can do that. You have a powerful enough voice, especially because that's what you do. You know, you have these. I mean, I ain't saying that's what she does as a whole, but she's done it. Like she has a show. Like if she wanted to interview this guy, she could probably figure out a way. I think the underlying situation with stuff like that is who these people are and who's in the background. Like you talk about somebody like Harvey Weinstein. I don't care that he was. I mean, I do care, but I'm saying the fact that he was doing these things to women, that's not why he didn't get interviewed. It's the power that he still has in the industry. It's the people that he knows in the industry. This guy, Charlie Rose, he had probably great relationships with a lot of people. And these things happen. They do these things. And people still have that same affinity for you as a person. They like that act like Damon is my best friend. But if something came out about him, I'm not turning my back on him because he did something wrong. I'm not going to condone what he did. But you're not going to see me out in the public blasting him for it. You know, and I could see a situation where Gayle doesn't want to be the person that has to ask him these hard questions because they have a relationship.
And I agree with you there. But I mean, me personally, I would have shied away, like I said, the Kobe Bryant questions, but R. Kelly, I don't have an issue. Like, interview his ass. You don't have, you should have PR or whoever, a management team behind you that says, hey, we're going through legal things right now. You do not take this interview. And I'm pretty sure Harvey Weinstein is listening to or was listening to those powers or those people, or he had the knowledge not to take certain interviews. Don't assume that they weren't willing to do certain things. Some people feel like they have to clear their name and they end up indicting themselves even more. Worse. And I find that in our culture a lot. We're like, oh no, I got to tell the people because I keep it real. Okay, when keeping it real goes wrong, that's what my issue is. But then the person that's interviewing them, when they're black, is the blame, not the person that chose to go to the interview.
He definitely shouldn't have been on
You're
that.
not
I mean, he was an
subpoenaed
idiot.
to interview.
He was an idiot for going on that interview. I mean, I can't deny that. Yeah, he was definitely an idiot.
Well, because he didn't have
but
his
no one's
emotions in
subpoenaed.
check. If he had a real team, they would have prepared him for every single question and told him what to say and what not to say. Because you don't see other people being interviewed who are in hot water, jumping up and screaming and crying and all
killing me with this shit, man.
Yeah, you know, and then that became a meme, and then later a song. It was funny to us because we knew that he had done everything that, you know, he had done pretty much everything that they were indicting him or he was in trouble for or whatever. But Gayle King stayed calm. That maybe that was part of it why they chose her to interview him, because she was like, Robert. And he sat his ass back down. But I don't think that, you know, these white guys who do the same kind of things and get into trouble, I don't think that our news anchors, black women or whomever, I don't think they don't rally and try to get those guys in for interviews. I'm sure that they can make suggestions and they have some say over it. But at the end of the day, it's not their choice. There was actually a whole movie made about that Fox News executive who, I think he was fired eventually for like sexually assaulting women. He would hire them, and then I think it's called Bombshell. I saw it. And he would hire them, and then they had to work their way up, and he would tell them, pull your skirt up a little bit and all these other different things. And he may not have had an interview, but they made a whole ass movie about that dude. I don't know how many people saw it, but when I saw it, I was like, damn, this is going on. And it's probably going on in other newsrooms as well. Probably. It depends on the research that you do, whether the case is high profile or not. Everybody knows who R. Kelly is. I mean, everybody knows him. And so why not have him on if he agrees to an interview and then do it in prime time so everybody can see it? Ain't nobody at work. Everybody's home and now they're cooking dinner. They've had dinner and everybody's able to sit down and watch this crazy interview with R. Kelly and Gayle King. And then as they're watching, they're creating the memes and all of the shenanigans jump off as soon as he hops out of that seat, or as soon as he says, I'm an older man and like younger women. Then all of a sudden we're dancing.
What do you mean by underage?
Yeah, I know.
When you say underage, what do you exactly
mean by younger
like,
women?
Nobody coached him. His team is trash. They have been trash all of these years. Nobody's ever said, look, this is what you need to say. Don't say this. And if they did do that for him,
I don't think he's smart enough. I don't think he's. If you look at his body language and listen to him speak, I don't think he's smart enough to steer away. I think he's too emotional and impulsive.
Probably
yeah, I mean, it
in this corner too.
Yeah, if you listen, I mean, I saw something on him. I don't know if it was the series that they had or what, but I remember that his he wasn't that smart educationally. Reading, he really can't read, even though he's a great, writer. And so there's a lot of things with the education aspect of him, but at the same time, he also has a group of people that pander to him and are yes men. So even when all those people, I falsified Aaliyah's documents so she could get married. They came out and said everything. So when people say, well, you think white men, okay, but his team is the one that's saying, I made sure to go to McDonald's with him in the mall to pick out 12 and 13-year-olds. So, I mean, these his people. So
can you imagine the process when he would write a song for somebody and they was trying to read it?
He probably just recorded it into like a little recorder. Right. And then let them listen, because he was, according to what they said about him, he was very good with he could hear things in his head, and then he would just he would just record them. He didn't write anything down, or if he had to, somebody else would do it for him. He had a lot of people around him to protect him from the shit that he probably should have. He should have went down a long time ago, is the point. Even his stupid ass older brother in jail was like, I don't see nothing wrong with that. I like older women. My brother just like younger women. My other brother's stupid. He offered him all this money, $50,000, and he wouldn't take it. He could have been rich. And I'm like, $50,000 makes you rich? I'm rich. I'm rich. I'm rich, bitch. I'm rich. If that's all it takes for you to be rich, like all the people around him failed him. And so that's why he's in the predicament he's in right now. And so I don't care about R. Kelly. Anybody else who had interviewed him, he probably would have done the same thing, but they may not have remained as calm.
Man, Nora O'Donnell could have did the interview. What's that woman that everybody used to get interviewed by? Man, what's that woman name?
Barbara Walters.
No, not her. It's another white lady though. Dang, the last interview I remember she did was with Lil Wayne. When
He said, "What's in my cup is in my cup."
Yeah. What's that woman name?
I don't know, but you do know that we say what the Black journalists shouldn't do, but then when the white woman gets the high profile and it's like, oh, she gets an Emmy for her journalism and asking the right questions, then we say, well, why don't our Black people get these things? So it's kind of like we have to think about how we judge people that do their job. Now, yes, we can criticize them. No one's beyond approach of criticism, but at the same time, why didn't the white person do it? Well, because they always get the Emmy nominated and Nobel Peace Prize interviews.
Katie Couric, that's what I was talking about. We need to kill that anyway. Forget the Emmy. We don't need Emmys. We don't need those.
Well, let's not get caught up on the award. I'm just saying our women are worthy of getting the high profile interviews, and when they get them, we tear them down for like, why did you do that to Black man? That's what I'm saying.
It's like a double-edged sword or whatnot. I'm not knocking the interview as much as I am. When she had a chance to speak about Charlie Rose, she protected him. You know what I'm saying? To me, that's my thing about her or whatever. Now, I don't know about everybody else who only saw the interview but don't really follow Gayle King. But when she had a chance to speak on Charlie Rose, she protected him or
what did
whatever.
She say? Did they ask her something specific? Like if they said, hey, what do you think about Charlie Rose? And then she said, I
can't remember if it was a loaded question or not. But I just do remember her protecting him, basically saying, I worked with him and I thought he was I think he's a good guy and he's my friend and woo, you know what I'm saying? But she never really, she kind of
said anything,
played around, you know what I'm saying? She didn't answer the.
I probably wouldn't either. I would be like, if I didn't know of any of the whatever he had done or what he's being accused of, I don't know that I would say, well, God damn it, I thought he was good and I guess he's trash. You know what I'm saying? Like I would, if my friend had gotten, like I have two friends from high school. One is accused of killing his wife and another did something really terrible. And I'm like, God, those guys, they were so good. Like I don't understand how this could happen.
And they may or may not have, but you can't then go tear down somebody else who may or may not have.
You know what I'm saying? Who? Like R. Kelly? Because we all know
she tore him down.
Okay, but R. Kelly did. Let's say he did, right?
But she didn't tear him down.
So did Charlie Rose.
We know he did.
So did Charlie Rose.
Okay. But
so I think in those situations is totally not totally different. They are very similar, but I think you have to. I think you have to account for the fact that one person she had a relationship with, one person it was business. Like you have to account for that. And I'm not gonna lie, I personally think that if you in a situation like that, you just say, I'm not gonna comment on anything about that right now. You don't give anybody. That's what I think you should say. Because people will expect you to hold everybody to the same standard. You interviewed R. Kelly, and I don't think she tore him down. I just think she asked him the questions that needed to be asked, and people can see that as being, why did you do that to him? Well, these are the questions everybody want to know about. This is what he's been accused of, and this is what a lot of people think he did. She just asked the questions. She didn't give any opinions about it. But I also think that, but I don't think people will hold you to the same standard when it comes to everybody. So yeah, Charlie Rose is her friend. It's somebody she knows. She doesn't want to denigrate him. Don't say anything. Don't say anything. Don't show people that you have favoritism towards this guy. Like, I don't know when I'm not talking about that. Redirect the question to something else if you don't want to. I understand she wouldn't want to say anything about that. It looks, I ain't gonna lie, it does look bad. It's nothing she can do about that. It just looks bad because you are the person that interviewed somebody who was accused of doing the same thing that this guy did that you worked with and that's your friend, but yet you don't, not that you're interviewing him, but you're not denigrating him either. You're not saying anything against what he did, what he's being accused of. You just showed support by saying it's my friend. People will look at that and say, why you not saying that about him? That's just what people are going to do. That's just reality.
She seemed like Eb say, she seemed insensitive when asking Lisa Leslie them questions about Kobe or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
But I don't think that if she said that she didn't, I have nothing to say. People would have still said, well, why don't you have something to say? I don't think it would have made a difference, even though I think she should have steered that way. But I also know when you work with people, you have to be careful about, like, even when I've had some asshole racist bosses, I'm not going to go out, and say, yeah, that this boss was a shithead. But then also, it's just like you have to, and especially corporately, you cannot talk about the company or those people that you worked with, So it's just, you may have said, I haven't had a great boss, or some of my coworkers weren't the best, but you don't talk down on the company or the kind of industry that you're in. So it may be a level of professionalism that she's trying to maintain.
Nah, that's what's up. So I guess moving forward, the homie Kevin Hart bombed this, I guess, recently with his comedy special or whatever, and everybody's been bashing him. The media, the so-called media, has been bashing him because of his Netflix special that was, I guess it was ill received.
It was lackluster. It wasn't because I think he did it like in the basement of his house or something.
Yeah.
It was set up like a comedy club. I will admit that I did try to watch it. I fell asleep halfway through it because it was not his usual, high energy. And also some of his gimmicks have gotten old. All of the, he says something and then he says it again and then he makes a sound and then he makes a face and then that's the gimmick for the whole show. Then he called his daughter a hoe at some point and I was like, really? Like, you couldn't think of anything else? This is it's time for you to come up with some new, better stuff. So it wasn't great like he normally. Absolutely lackluster. That is the word I'm using to describe it.
I didn't watch the whole thing. Yeah, I started it, and from the first maybe 7 to 10 minutes, I stopped it, and I said I was going to watch it later. It didn't really catch me at the first 7 to 10 minutes, but I plan on watching it. I just hadn't got to it, so I don't want to give my criticism of it, not criticism, but my critique of it as a whole, because I didn't watch the whole, but I can see how, if it has the same energy from the first 7 to 10 minutes that I saw, I can see how it could be seen as lackluster. Yeah. But I haven't seen the whole thing yet. So
yeah, likewise with me. That's crazy. I did the same exact thing. I watched like maybe the first 5. I mean, I didn't have a problem with him being in the at his crib and stuff. I mean, it was set up like a very intimate. And Kevin Hart, he one of my guys, man. He like,
yeah, me too.
Probably my top 5, like, cause I seen him like in person, and that dude. Yeah. He killed me or whatever. So I look for it. And then he's such a great person or whatever. I want him to do great. You know what I'm saying? All his movies are solid or whatever. Everything he does for the community and the culture.
They're not all solid. Stop saying that.
No, all his movies are
No, they're not. They are not all
they
solid.
I didn't say I'm not saying that they're the greatest movies of all times. I'm just saying
define solid then.
They good for what they supposed to do. They good. Like, his movies are supposed to be for comedy. They funny, except for like one of them, I think.
Which one?
I forgot the movie that he was in with was it Bradley Cooper? It was somebody who was in the movie. I didn't see it. I didn't see the movie, but it's his.
How you know it wasn't
I say I don't know if that one was good, but I'm saying his movies, like his comedy movies, they're designed
Overall,
to do what
his
they're
movie
designed to
solid.
do. They're comedies and they're funny. They're supposed to be silly with a lot of silly humor, over the top type stuff. And when you go check his numbers at the box office, it will tell you
I mean,
data
I
data tells the
guess
truth. His
Night
box office
School wasn't
numbers.
good. That movie with Tiffany
I
Haddish, and
like.
I
I
was
thought
like,
Night
I thought
School was
like
straight.
I
I
thought
did
Night
not
School was
like
fine
it.
too.
I was like, this is
It's
stupid
not my
as
type of
hell. Like
comedy.
she
But
beating his ass outside of this restaurant with a belt. Nope, this is stupid.
Yeah, I thought
And
Night
also,
School was straight
and the other
Yeah.
yeah.
movie he did with, I think it was
with the
Will
Rock.
Ferrell, where he had to
Uh-huh.
go to
Oh,
jail. Like he was like showing him
I,
how to be hard, get hard. Is
yeah,
that what the
Yeah.
movie
Get
yeah.
was?
I
hard.
think
Uh-huh.
that's the name of it. I
And
thought
there
that
was
was
one
straight too.
scene where
That
he
was
was like,
hilarious.
now,
Yeah,
in jail, they gonna expect you to do some things, and like trying to basically teach him how to give a blowjob to a man. He was like, you gotta go in there and do it. You gotta do it to like show this
yeah, that
man
was
how to
funny.
get hard. And I was like, what? Now this is
You
taking it
you
way
you
too
laughed though.
far.
Laughed.
No, I was
You
just like, this
laughed.
is absolutely
You
ridiculous.
So,
laughing now.
I'm looking around in the because it was so stupid. I said, okay, nope, this is
so,
not gonna be in his top 10 as far as
so,
movies.
so, what
But
kind of? I mean, it may not be, but well, in his top 10, I don't know. I think so, but I think to
bottom
me, if you look at all, what
and
he got probably about 10 movies or
and
whatever.
Soul Plane, that was horrible. That was terrible. Wasn't that
I
his
didn't
movie
think.
too?
I
Okay,
didn't
so
think
Soul
so.
Plane, Soul Plane. I like Soul Plane,
Wasn't
but yeah,
Soul
it
Plane his
I
bombed.
didn't think
too?
it was.
It was so
Yeah,
fun.
yeah,
It
that
It
was
was
his
bombed.
movie.
I liked it.
terrible. You guys, come on now. Y'all
It
are better than this. God damn
it
it,
was
y'all better
terrible,
than
but
this.
it was like his first, right? And then we
Yeah,
were
But
it was the most bootleg movie, and
so
and
bootleg.
Soon
yeah.
then
as
it's like,
Well, I
They
mean,
were some
like
high
bootleg meaning like
profile people.
everybody had it on like from the
I don't
DVD
Yes,
count,
days.
I don't
that.
count
But
Soul
everybody
Plane.
was in it. Snoop Dogg was in it. Monique was all these
but
like
it was what it
top
was supposed to
comedians, and I was
be. It
like,
was like a
I think
hood.
everything is what it's supposed to be. Now, whether you think it's trash or not
That's
is a
what. So
different.
that's what we doing.
Well,
Of course,
well,
everything is what it's supposed to be. What I'm
well,
saying is,
because I don't no, I'm not trying to shit on your statement. I just don't understand it. I mean, I think things are what they're supposed to be. Now, whether it's your type of comedy or not, I think that's the
so
difference.
but
I
he's
think
Now,
done like
I'm
really good movies before that weren't like where like I was side eyeing, like really this
Like
nope. I don't
Jumanji.
even like I want my money back. I did
so.
like
Y'all didn't like
Jumanji.
Jumanji?
Jumanji was good. I liked Jumanji. It was funny. It was well put together. They had some really good lines in Jumanji. I look at stuff like that,
See,
and that movie, Night School,
I know what the
Get
issue
Hard,
is. I know what
Soul
the issue
Plane.
is now. You
What's
don't
the
like
issue?
you like well written comedy. You don't like improv
Who,
or whatnot.
that
improv is fine when it's done well. When it's
when it's
done
yeah when it's
When
well.
it's written
No,
improv.
You,
when
no,
it's
because
you,
done
you,
some things are
well.
written. Yeah, well, some things are written
let's
wrong
let's
too.
go back to Kevin Hart's performance. I
It wasn't
wonder,
good.
I wonder if he did the normal routines that he does to get material because he's
Okay,
talked about
okay,
COVID.
okay. Yeah.
I know he talked about COVID and that he had it and that he was staying home. And normally comedians, even like Dave Chappelle now, he before he does a special, he goes to different places, small venues, and he tests material. Like that's what comedians do. That's what the top comedians do. They test the material and then they take what's good, what they thought was great from all those spots, and then they do their big show. And I wonder if he went through that process because he said that he wasn't leaving the house, he wasn't going nowhere and doing anything. So maybe he spitballed this and it bombed
And put
because
it
he
on his
didn't have anybody to
family.
test material with.
Yeah,
You
he
know?
should
Nobody
have
here,
zoomed.
kids, wifey,
Yeah,
y'all listen to what I
He
got
should
to
have zoomed
say.
some
They're
people.
on. Yeah, he should have zoomed some people because it
What-
wasn't good.
Where's his writers at? Because I think he got a team of writers, and maybe they weren't involved. Maybe he tried to, man, I
Do
could
it
do this
himself.
on my own.
I don't know.
Something
I
like
don't know.
that. Anyway,
Did he always
go
have a
ahead.
team of writers though? Because when I saw him, um, 8 or 9 years ago at the Improv here in Houston, at that small, tiny little venue, and he was so funny. I was pregnant, I remember, and I was like, man, I'm about to have this baby because I'm laughing so hard. Like that's how hard I was. He was
we
hilarious.
was probably there together. He was telling the joke about the deer, bro, and all of that.
Yeah,
The deer,
I
bro.
went
The
when he
big
was
one.
here too.
And the
Yeah,
time when and when he went
Yeah.
horseback riding or something, it was so funny. And I said, God,
Yeah.
this dude is funny. That movie Soul Plane didn't get to
Writers.
showcase his skills. That movie was trash. Okay, throw
Man,
that
that
away.
was
And
like his
hopefully
first movie.
nobody will remember it. Hopefully it goes into
Oh,
oblivion
Soul
somewhere.
Plane is a movie. Even though it may not have been a great movie, it's
A classic
definitely
kid
a,
movie.
classic. Yeah, it's
It-
definitely
who
a classic.
who doesn't have a soul plane? What great actor doesn't have a soul plane, Gina?
Does Denzel have a Soul Plane?
Probably a short.
He got some.
It's
He
probably
got
a
some
short film.
movies. He got some old school movies that's like, okay, that's pretty cool.
But
Denzel.
he's not
That's
a
I
not as
com-
mean,
good as.
he's not a
he's
comedian either, though.
he's
But I'm
not.
just saying though, it's not just about comedy. It's about just that maturation. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I thought Soul Plane was cool. It's not one of my all-time favorite movies, and I probably never watch it again. But I
You
thought
won't.
it was
You
cool for
won't
what it
ever
was
watch
at
it
that point in
again.
time.
Yeah,
Nobody
I liked
watches
it
it again
then.
on purpose. You walk
I
in
was a
and it's on,
college
and you're like,
student. I
ugh,
liked it.
okay. I
I
mean, I
think it was
guess if
cool
this
for
is what we
what it was.
watching, nobody's gonna turn it
Soul
on
Plane was fine.
purpose.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what we
Yeah.
got teabagging from. We wouldn't know what teabagging was if it wasn't for Soul Plane.
I
That's
Oh,
what
mean,
they
really?
came.
okay.
Hmm.
Unless you're high, you're not
Interesting.
watching that movie on purpose. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't I like him in person. I've seen him here, and then I think one time he was at one of the, I don't know if it was Toyota's. It was something big. He was there as well, and then I saw him at Essence Festival. I think I like him better in person. I think it's the ambiance of being there, especially like at the Improv in the small
Yeah,
venue. Some things are funny
I
and
love the
funnier
improv.
to me when I have some drinks in the system. But every time I watch like stand up, some of my friends are like, "Oh my gosh, just bust your gut funny," and I'm like, I don't feel the same. But I like kind of like dry humor. But even like Mike Epps, like
Yeah,
he's the worst. He's always been the worst for me. I think he's funny in movies, and I think if he was my homie, I'd be laughing all day. But I cannot stand him stand up. I think he's um, the least funniest in the world. But but and that's not me bashing him as a black man. It's just horrible. And I remember I used to be in college. I was over this campus activities board where you brought people in for like speakers
yeah,
and events. So we brought him for a comedy show, and I remember him being funny like the first two jokes, and then everyone's like kind of silent. And I remember him saying, "So y'all want a nigga to say joke after joke, huh?" And we were like, "Yeah." So, but after I guess he didn't come with any jokes, and then so he started ranking on people in the audience. So I noticed in a lot of his stand-ups that was kind of like where he went to. You know, it was like
yeah.
so, I'll make this. I know we're not talking about Mike Epps, but my cousin told me. She said you have to give him another chance. He's hilarious, and this was back in my days of college. So when I used to smoke a little bit, and I'm like,
Did you
okay,
inhale?
well then he. Oh yeah, I made sure to inhale. So I was like, okay, well then clearly he'll be funnier if I'm high. He still
Yeah,
wasn't funny, and I'm looking around like everybody's laughing. What's wrong with me? But I noticed it was like he would say something like, and this wasn't one of his jokes, but he would say something like, "Don't you hate when your grandma cook a pie?" And then everybody's like laughing. Oh yeah, she cooks a pie. And then he would go on to, "Man, it's crazy. The weather's crazy." And I'm sitting here waiting on the pie joke. I'm like, why are y'all laughing? Like I need something to connect. I'm not understanding. So
he,
Yeah, he is one of those comedians. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
he
Yeah.
like the dude that was funny in high school or in junior
yeah.
high, something like that or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like just because of his antics and the way he says something, not necessarily because of the joke that he told or whatever. And he was
Yeah.
able to
Yeah.
make a platform out of that. You
Yeah,
know what I'm
but
saying?
Yeah.
just like the dude that was in high school, it was funny then, and then you get to the 10-year reunion, that dude doing the same jokes, and you
Hey, bro, you think Greg Price? Speaking of which, you think Greg Price still funny? That boy Greg used to go with some jokes.
hey,
Over.
yeah, but probably not though, probably not, man. If you're listening, what's up?
Yeah.
What up? What up, Greg?
But Kevin Hart, like you said, I wish him the best. I love his business acumen. I love what he's doing. So I really try my best not to speak on
Did you
if I don't
watch?
like something.
Did you watch
Huh?
the what's the name? Did you watch the
I
special?
didn't the special, no, but I did. I only saw the clips and I heard the controversy about the whole joke, about the daughter.
Oh, I
You're a
didn't hear
hoe,
that.
but I understood the joke, even if it wasn't that funny to me. I
Yeah,
may have used. I cringe sometimes about certain things. Like Dave Chappelle is one of my favorite, and I remember the one where he talked about the stand up where he talked about I guess the Michael Jackson
The
stuff, and
child molestation.
Yeah, I was like, oh no, I don't like this. I don't like this. And I rarely dislike stuff, but maybe it wasn't because it was funny, it's because it hit home for me where it was some things where I'm like, I don't rock with that, but he had every right to, say what he was saying. But I was just like, I don't know. But Damien, can you do that impression again? That
Which
was really
one?
well.
Which
Kevin
one?
Hart.
Kevin
Oh,
Kevin Hart.
it only works one time.
But
No,
it sounds like you
Everybody knows
practice
that.
it. You
You
really
can
the
only
do.
do
whole
Kevin Hart
joke.
one time. Everybody knows that.
The whole joke doesn't. It didn't land because he didn't. I mean, first of all, you're talking about your daughter, and it wasn't even like, oh, she's out here, messing with all these different guys at the same time or having sex all over the place, whatever. Which is what we would probably consider a hoe. But what he said was that, oh, she's like talking to one guy, one week, and then she breaks up with him for whatever, and then now she's kind of talking to another guy, or a student or friend at school, and then now she's not talking to him, and he's like, oh, my daughter's a hoe. I don't know. Like, at least she's smart enough to recognize that whoever she's
It's
talking to ain't about
Oh,
shit. So,
why we
it's just a
go?
comedy joke. Yeah, it's
like,
just
Yeah,
why
why
is
we
she
just
doing
not a
missed.
that?
hoe?
He's actually in one of his past comedy shows. Like that daughter he's talking about now, I think she's probably with like maybe middle school age or something like that, a little older. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
maybe
High
years
school, I
ago when she
think.
high
was
school.
like little, years ago when she was little, he made a joke about her when she was like a baby and how she was like being hoish, and everybody laughed. You know, so I
Yeah.
think it's really
The
about
times are
it just
different.
didn't deliver. It didn't deliver it good.
Atmosphere.
It
I
wasn't good
think
delivery.
the
Yeah.
Like
atmosphere that
Regina,
we're
you
in
going
right
into
now.
logic behind a joke. I
Yeah.
mean,
No.
logically, if he was talking like serious, yes, I agree with you. But he was trying to land a joke, and the
But
joke
it didn't
just didn't
land
hit.
because it wasn't funny.
Yeah,
That's
it
why.
just
And
was.
But
It was just bad delivery. That's all it was. Just bad
so
I
delivery.
agree.
it's either or. It's either it was funny or it wasn't. It's
I
no.
didn't think it
You
was
It
can't.
funny. I
wasn't
was like,
funny, but I think it was the delivery, like y'all are
like
saying.
what?
He
She's
just
a
should have.
hoe. How does that make her a hoe? I don't
I'm
get
a.
it.
But it's not Gina. It's not about.
I
Okay,
didn't
like.
get it. I didn't get it. And I'm immature as hell. I laugh at everything. I
But
work with
if.
kids. Kids make me laugh. I laugh when they fart. I
But it's
laugh
not
at
about.
ignorant shit all the time. That was not funny.
But then it
Wasn't
just
funny.
wasn't funny. It's but like why is everybody complaining and making like talking about it like it's something serious or whatever? Like it's nothing. It's just a joke it wasn't a good joke.
I
Simple.
just don't think we're used to I think we're used to Kevin Hart being like live and more energy and just like really hilarious, and he wasn't. It was very sobering. He
Yeah.
did talk about how he had COVID, and I it just during a time like this, you want when you watch, well, at least for me, when I seek out something funny like a comedy show,
Hmm.
I need it to make me laugh, to get me out of the like literal stupor that we've been in for so long because of this
Yeah.
crazy pandemic. And I need it to be like gut busting laughs, like make me forget about all the crazy shit that's going on, make me forget about our ignorant president and this pandemic, and the uncertainty of what might happen in the next month or so. Make me forget about all that and just make me laugh. And
If
he
you
didn't deliver, and
if you want,
that's the controversy.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel you.
I think
Well,
that's what it is. Yeah.
I don't think that's the controversy. I
Or
think
that's the problem, or that's why he's
yeah,
being criticized so heavily, because he didn't
he ain't
do what he
delivered.
normally
I
does.
don't like
Do,
I hate the criticism. Go ahead. Ed.
do y'all think if we weren't in a pandemic, like maybe his comedy is kind of the same, but right now since we're watching, everything, 24/7 Netflix comedies or whatever, maybe it's time to take it to another level. And see, I didn't watch it, so I can't give a full synopsis. But
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
do you think people could sit down when they're not in the atmosphere where everyone's laughing and say, "Dang, this just isn't funny," and they think it's this
Nah,
stand up, or
nah,
is
I
it
think
his
it just wasn't
regular?
funny.
it just
Okay.
wasn't funny. I think one of the things that Regina said, I think is also key to is like he is a high energy guy. I think he thrives off of that too. He's
Yeah.
been performing in arenas. We haven't seen Dave Chappelle. We haven't seen Kevin Hart like perform in these small venues on TV. And like I said, I think it also has something to do with his process of gaining material. I really don't think that he went through that normal process of going to different shows, doing different shows,
Yeah.
and doing bits.
Writers.
And exactly. So I feel like all that has something to do with it, but he is a high energy guy. And from what I saw in that 7 to 10 minutes that I watched, he wasn't doing all that high energy stuff that he normally does. Like he comes out with energy, and he was
Bro,
calm.
Yeah.
He was
but
calm, you know.
did y'all see the one when he was like in London and stuff like that? That was like one of his recent one. It was
Yeah,
all right. It
I don't think
wasn't.
so.
it was all right, but it still wasn't bad. It
It
wasn't
wasn't
bad, but
bad.
I think a lot of it has to do also, like I said, with his venue. Like you hear fans, you hear people screaming, they still laughing. I ain't gonna lie, that
Bro.
some of those parts was really funny. Like
Yeah,
some
some
of
of
them
them.
was real funny, you
Some
know.
of them. But it
I
wasn't.
mean, I do think it's time for him to like kind of change his act or add something to it, you know, because I do think people are getting used to what he's doing, and I think
Right.
that's what you said, Damien. I think that's part of it too.
Has a
Yeah.
routine
I
where
agree.
he does, he comes out, he makes his initial thing, and then he makes a face and no, he wasn't ready or whatever, and then that continues for the whole show. So it is time for him
Yeah.
to like, I don't
And I
know if
don't like gimmicks.
like
It's,
level up or change the way he
he,
does it. He is maturing. He is older. He
yeah,
said that. He's like, I've changed. I'm not the same guy. I've matured. I've learned some things. I'm doing things differently. And so that's why it's not the same, or it didn't deliver this. I didn't deliver the same way or whatever, which is fine. So this would just like be a new Kevin Hart that we have to get used to because he's evolving as a comedian.
mm-mm.
Maybe he'll be like that Dave Chappelle type in 10 years where he just comes out, sits down with a mic, talks about some shit and makes us think, but it's also funny. And then we're all like, damn, he didn't used to be like this, but he ain't that women be shopping no more. Like we don't get on Dave
Right.
Chappelle for not
Yeah.
doing that anymore.
We,
So
I mean, we wasn't
But it's
rocking
it
with
so
that
is time for
anyway.
different.
him to evolve.
Right. And I agree with the evolving, but I think like when you talk about like a Dave Chappelle, even with a Chris Rock, I just don't like Chris Rock screaming, but when you listen to what he's talking about, it's always his
It's
joke is
brilliant.
always tied back
Yeah,
to something that's very relevant and it makes you think and it's so
Yeah.
smart. It's a very smart comedy.
Yeah, he's cerebral.
And if
Yeah.
hmm
and I think if Kevin is going to not venture into being where you're thinking, and he's going to talk about his life circumstance, like crazy things that happen, he's going to have to figure out how to. You can't deliver that like Dave Chappelle. Like you can't talk about your daughter being a hoe calmly. You're going to have to bring some things with it. I personally don't like the gimmicks. Like okay, where he'll start off the show like what did you say, Gina? What he says the thing that he says throughout the show. I forgot.
Ready or
Yeah,
one
yeah.
show
And
he
then
was
like
like, no, no. And I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay.
And then 10 jokes down the line, he brings it back up and the
Yeah.
audience is like, "Oh yeah, that was funny an hour ago." I personally never like that, but it does work for who it works for. But if he's going to evolve and be calm, he's going to have to come up with some material that's going to
Change
be
his
funny with
His,
yep.
no audience clapping and laughing.
I think his best jokes come from like when he gives his scenarios. You know what I'm saying? And they be
Mhm.
like the most mundane, regular things, but then he exaggerates it and stuff like that or whatever. So I don't think he did that enough or whatever. Like I say, I don't know where his writers was at. Maybe they should have been in person instead of on Zoom or something like that. So he could have really got a feel for what's going on. But it is
Yeah.
what it is. He'll be back. And Kevin is he resilient. So I'm not
He is. I
Oh
have
yeah.
no doubt that he'll
And
he'll
doesn't
he'll
he
be
have
fine.
like a contract or something with Netflix to deliver so much? I could be wrong,
mhm.
but
I'm not
I
I
sure.
thought
thought
he
they
had
developed
something with
those
them.
contracts like one at a time. Like, oh, we're going to give you
Okay.
this show. Here's the amount of time you have. Here's what we're going to pay you. Yes or
Not
no.
everybody.
Negotiate, and then, I mean, not everybody, but I thought that that's how it worked. As far as like comedians, here's what we're going to do for you specifically. Not everybody gets the same treatment. We already know that. I mean,
Yeah, I mean I think that is how it works for the most part. But like I know I said that because I know Dave Chappelle. He started off with a 3 episode special, and then they
right.
signed another contract for more. So we got a lot to look forward to with Dave
I mean,
Chappelle
but
and
he's Dave
Netflix.
Chappelle though, so
Exactly. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, all right.
so.
All right. Well,
We're at about what
I
time?
think that's it for this episode of Acoustic Chef.
I think so. I think you're right.
Yep.
Yes, it
So
is.
we can kind of wrap it up, and until next time,
Oh, right now,
peace and
if
love.
wait before we go, right now, if you still here, Go ahead and subscribe, all that good stuff. Share with your family and friends.
Share.
Please do.
Sharing
Please
is
do,
probably
please do.
even more important than liking and subscribing.
Yeah, sharing is caring.
Right.
If you care about us, share it.
Exactly. And on that, we out. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.